You found it. Your home for the best content on your favorite team, the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Do us a favor, subscribe to the channel, leave your comments below, and be sure to smash that like button. Brian Kelly met with reporters today after practice. Let's hear plenty of what he said. And I want to get to, in just a quick second, a look at some of the 2024 NFL draft prospects with the most to gain. On Saturday, when reporters were at LSU practice, Maason Smith, during a team period, went down with an injury and sort of lay there for a while. The trainers checked on him. Brian Kelly checked on him. He sort of hobbled off the field. Monday, when we were at practice, they were not in full pads. They were in helmets and shoulder pads and shorts. Maason Smith was out there. And then Tuesday and Wednesday's availability, he was in full pads. Tuesday, he was full pads. And when he did everything except when they went to a team period, he was just hitting the sled, the blocking sled. So I actually posted a video of this on social media if you want to see for your own eyes. Maason Smith in full pads, like hitting a sled and chopping his feet and moving just fine. Brian Kelly, when he met with reporters after practice Wednesday, was asked about Maason Smith and his status. Here's what he said.
You know, he's been banged up a little bit. Nothing that we're overly concerned with. You know, there's no structural damage to any joints or, things of that nature. But look, he's been out for a year, and everything hurts a little bit more after coming back into it. But he had an ankle sprain, nothing that we were really too concerned with, but we're concerned with everything, right? When you have a player of his caliber. So we're going to be careful with him.
For what it's worth, and I always look for validation of, or invalidation of opinions from outside sources. Something you'll often hear us talk about here is, okay, like, I try my best to look at something impartially as I can to give you an honest opinion. But I also realize that I'm a human with bias, just like you are, we all are, to whatever it may be. In sports, the teams you love, in life, your family, close friends, whatever. And so sometimes I look for like independent third parties that you might trust, a source to validate or invalidate an opinion on something. And we've talked so much about Maason Smith, and we've talked about how he was obviously this 5-star, number one defensive lineman, how he's, Mike Detillier told us about him when he was a sophomore in high school. He's the best big man from the Bayou that he's ever scouted in 30-plus years. And so you hear all this stuff, but then you look and you realize, look, he played 9 games as a freshman, and then last year played in one series before missing the whole season. So you start to look and go, okay, well, was all that just high school hype because he was this giant guy, or is it validated? Well, Matt Miller over at ESPN.com has a piece where he discussed 10 players in college football that have the most at stake. Matt Miller is an ESPN NFL draft analyst. And he looked at 10 players in college football with the most to gain or lose this season with respect to the draft. And the number one guy on the list was Quinn Ewers. Number 2 is Maason Smith. And he talks about Smith having the potential to be the first defensive tackle taken in this draft. He quotes an AFC scout who said, quote, "Go back and watch Smith's freshman tape, and you see this dude dripping with potential. He's big, but he has a first step that'll hurt you. He could be a top 10 pick if he's healthy." It's not me saying it. That's an AFC scout, a scout for an AFC team telling you, if this dude's healthy, he could be a top 10 pick in the first defensive tackle taken in the draft. So it's another reason to be excited about Maason Smith, but it also underscores what Brian Kelly is saying there. And I hate to draw a what and what comparison to college and the NFL, but this one I think plays. Every year in the NFL in camp, they have veteran days off. They have scheduled veteran days off in camp where veterans just don't practice. Because what's so important in the NFL when you have a 17-game schedule over 18 weeks is having your best players available on Sundays. So much of an NFL week is, I understand it's NFL, not college, but so much of an NFL week is getting guys ready to play on Sunday. They play, they break their bodies down, and the rest of the week is just building them back up to be ready again for Sunday. And I kind of look at Maason Smith right now in that same light. Yes, Maason Smith missed all of last season. So there's game condition and a lot of stuff that he'll have to get back. But there's no sense in rushing anything with Maason Smith or taking any chance with Maason Smith. So he's out there doing all the drills, but when they go 11 on 11, it's like, hey, dude, go hit the sled. We got this. We'll let other guys get these reps. Because you realize how important he is to your success or failure as a defense, having that monster right in the interior of your defense. So Brian Kelly telling you Maason Smith, healthy, good. He's just hurting a little bit. It's more important to have him ready to go September the 3rd against Florida State than it is to have him ready to go August 16th in the second full week of fall camp. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.